Something is happening in Britain, a quiet fury that's beginning to spill out into the open. Across motorways, towns and communities, a message is being sent, not to the government but to the king himself. A demand, a warning, a cry for action, and it's raising one of the most explosive questions of our time. Will King Charles finally step in, or will he turn his back on the people who need him most? Let's break it down, but first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. We have released our new I'm Not Far Right t-shirts. There are two different variants which come in black and blue. You can find them at britishstand.com or check the link in the description. Let's get into today's video. British citizens are growing restless. Across the country, the frustration is boiling over, and people are demanding that King Charles step in and do what Parliament refuses to do: dissolve it and call for a general election. Just recently, a massive banner appeared on the M53 motorway, reading, "Charles, do your job, fire these traitors." That's not just graffiti. That is a message, a desperate cry from ordinary people who feel ignored, betrayed, and silenced by a political class that no longer represents them. Why people are turning to the king? For centuries, the monarch has been seen as the ultimate safeguard when politicians lose touch with the people. Technically, the king does still hold reserve powers, including the ability to dissolve Parliament. And while it's true that such an act would plunge the UK into constitutional crisis, many argue that this crisis already exists, not because of the king, but because of the actions of the government. Labour's handling of key issues has left Britons feeling abandoned in their own country. Whether it's uncontrolled migration, rising cost of living, or the sense that British identity itself is being undermined, more and more citizens feel as though their voices are being ignored. They look at Parliament and see a chamber filled with politicians who serve global interests rather than the people who elected them. And so people are asking, where is King Charles? Why is he silent? Why does he not step in to defend the nation? After all, if the king cannot or will not act in a moment when the people themselves are calling for his leadership, then what is the point of the monarchy at all? This is where the outrage deepens. Many feel the king is too spineless, too concerned with being a modern monarch to actually do the one thing a monarch is supposed to do: protect the nation in its time of need. Instead of standing firm, Charles is seen as bowing to political correctness, environmental lobbying, and global institutions, while his own citizens beg him to dissolve a parliament they no longer trust. This is the question at the heart of the matter. Should Parliament be dissolved? Should the king take the bold step and force a general election? Critics will argue that doing so would break with modern convention. They'll warn of instability, chaos, and a constitutional storm. But ask yourself this: is Britain not already in chaos? Is the system not already broken? If Parliament no longer serves the people, then surely it is the duty of the Crown to restore order by returning power to the public. If Charles acted now, many believe he would have the overwhelming backing of the people. Yes, it would cause a storm in Westminster. Yes, it would be condemned by the political elite. But ordinary Britons would rally behind a monarch who finally stood up for them. This could be King Charles's defining moment, the decision that earns him the respect of a nation and cements his legacy as a monarch who truly put Britain first. Or it could be the moment he is remembered as weak, spineless, and irrelevant, the king who refused to act when his people begged him to. So here's the message: Britain is at breaking point. The people are demanding a general election, and the king has the power to make it happen. The question is not whether he can. The question is whether he will. Because if Charles continues to do nothing, if he continues to ignore the people's cries, then his reign will be defined not by strength or duty, but by weakness and betrayal. And that is something Britain will not forgive. In other news, Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp has brutally torn into Labour, accusing them of fostering a national crisis. Speaking to Stephen Dixon and Ellie Costello, Mr. Philp said Labour's policies have put the safety of women and girls across Britain at risk. He said Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer must lie awake at night in a cold sweat thinking about his decision to cancel the Rwanda plan. Mr. Philp's counterpart, Yvette Cooper, is set to unveil a number of reforms to Britain's asylum system as MPs return to Westminster following the summer recess. But the top Tory made it clear he is not impressed with the plans he believes are a last-ditch bid to dress up what is an increasingly desperate situation. Since the election, the numbers of illegal immigrants in these asylum hotels have actually gone back up again. It's gone up by about 8%, so I accept it should never have got to 400. That is a fair point. I accept that. But the last government did get it down from 400 to 200 in 9 months. And if that rate of reduction had continued right now, we'd have no illegal immigrants in hotels at all. Ms. Cooper is set to unveil changes to the broken asylum system, which she hopes will turbocharge Labour's bid to end the use of asylum hotels by 2029. Proposals include an overhaul to the refugee family reunion process, which Ms. Cooper says will give the system greater fairness and balance. Families will have to show they have sufficient funds, while tighter rules surrounding English language requirements will be introduced. Mr. Phillips said the new plans will not prove to be enough of a deterrent to tackle what he says is now a national crisis. He took particular issue with Sir Keir deciding to scrap the Rwanda asylum plan on the same day he became Prime Minister. The Prime Minister announced the plan, which would have seen illegal immigrants relocated to Rwanda for processing, asylum, and resettlement, would be replaced by the Border Security Command. It's a border crisis, it's also a public safety crisis, Mr. Phillips said. We've seen hundreds of these illegal immigrants in the hotels getting charged with serious criminal offences, including sexual assaults against women and girls as young as 8. One of these men was convicted recently for raping a 15-year-old girl, and part of his defense in court was to say he didn't understand it was wrong because of his culture. He was from Afghanistan, which is an absolutely disgraceful thing to say. But it highlights that this border security crisis is also putting women and girls at risk. Enough is enough. It has to end. But this government is too weak to do what is needed. What is needed is to remove everybody, every single person, 100%, who crosses the English Channel by small boat. They're just not willing to do it because they don't understand it's a crisis. And as they themselves have admitted, they're more interested in the so-called human rights of illegal immigrants than they are in protecting the British public. The Home Secretary will tell Parliament her proposals will be putting much stronger foundations in place so we can fix the chaos we inherited and end costly asylum hotels. She will say that means ensuring we have the powers we need to pursue the criminal smuggling gangs profiting from small boat crossings that other parties have voted against, but also new firm rules in place to manage the asylum system so we can close hotels. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.